So my first review was an A1 Pictures show that at the time I considered to be the best the studio had to put forward. While it had its flaws, I still believed that was the best show they had produced to date. As with a lot of things, however, I was proven wrong. Before I get too far into this, I want to take you on a journey of how I came to this show. One of the best seasonal rides had just ended. Most times, when a good show ends, I see if there's any others like it. The show that I had just finished went by the name of Nagi no Asakara. So when looking up shows that were like it, I stumbled upon this one, From the New World. When I saw the previews and looked at the synopsis, I really did not think it sounded like Nagi no Asakara at all. So I put it on my Crunchyroll queue and forgot about it for a long time. As of recently, I have been looking for things I can watch that are complete and I can watch all at once. And as I stumbled through my Crunchyroll queue, I found it and finally decided to watch it. And boy did I enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a Talks anime review of Shinsekai Yori, or From the New World. Let's do it. If I had to describe this story to someone in one sentence without giving away too much of the show, it would be that this show is shrouded in... Think of, say, a Higurashi-type mystery with a different fantasy element. In the first episode, we are introduced to this world where a small percentage of the population of humans have powers. These powers can take many forms, from the power of flight to spontaneous flames being produced, to literally imploding your enemy. As you would imagine, humans with this type of power would have an undue advantage on the rest of the population that does not have this power. So to counteract this, some entity, it was never really explained who, but for this show probably some kind of god, put certain rules in place so that humans could not kill other humans. When they tried, something in their DNA would kick in and kill them. Again, as you would imagine, even with these rules, there is still room for error. Also, something to mention, you have these mutants, as the show calls them. The main one they focus on is monster rats. These were genetically made by humans. They are living, breathing, and thinking individuals. The one caveat is they do not have the ability to obtain power as humans do. Due to this, these mutants are slaves to humans and are treated as such. A lot of what the show likes to delve into is this fact, and what type of morals these humans and servants have. It's a plot point really done well, and especially towards the end. It throws a lot of human preconceived notions out the window. As you can imagine, this leads to quite a bit of greatness. Now, let's get into the story a bit. We are introduced to our 5 main characters. These main characters live in Karmasu 66, a place for humans with special powers. This place is made specifically for them, with a school for kids with powers. One thing the show introduces very early on is that some humans, even in this town, don't get powers, or have powers but don't seem to learn how to use them properly. It would seem that these humans pose some kind of problem, and these mysterious people in the background, who we learn about later, take these people out. Now, from a show like this, you would imagine the main characters have some kind of plot armor. That would be where you're wrong, at least mostly. As the show goes on, the group that we get introduced to changes by one means or another. To be very honest, in anime this is very refreshing, as you don't have an OP main character gallivanting around without a care in the world. But I wouldn't know what show I'm talking about here, eh? Alright, back on topic. These kids are in a school, and as part of their training, they go on a school campout. Now, I mention this because these kids, being kids, venture into territories they're not supposed to be in, and get caught in a chain of events that would change the rest of their lives. I won't go any further as this would lead to spoilers for a good amount of the show, but just know this. This overarching plot is huge, and probably one of the best I've seen constructed in years. While at times confusing, it's by no means boring, and really has a way of taking you in. The characters here are really something special. However, due to the plot being as big as it was, the characterization can at times go unnoticed. However, if you pay attention, you see a lot of good here. Saki is pretty much our main protagonist, as most of the show is narrated by her view of the situations. She's really good as a main lead, and she really drives home the dilemma that humanity is facing. The one trait that really stood out for me is that she is considered by everyone in the show to be strong. Not in brute strength, but of strong will. She may cry and she may get lost along the way, but never gets too far down about it. Always seeing a light in the gloom she's in. As a viewer, you really can't help but like her as a protagonist, as she really brings home the show's points really well. I lump everyone else in the cast in this category for many reasons. While we have our 4 other main leads, they really only serve to progress Saki as a character, with maybe the exception of Satoru. This really is not a bad thing, as it serves to push many different things through one main character and support these things with the rest of the characters. One thing I really enjoyed was the mutant characters. Most shows do not give these mutants thoughts, let alone personalities. They really shine because we are introduced to a few rather early and get to see them in certain situations that tell us more about their character. This leads to some of these characters being good and others ending up being bad. The show does a very good job foreshadowing this, not making it too blunt that the viewer feels insulted, but just subtle enough that you can miss it if you're not paying attention. You will be surprised how hard it is to do this, and it really should be appreciated as it's not done very well often. Okay, so when I first saw the preview of the show, I did not think it was A1 Pictures. If you would have asked me what studio I thought it was, I would have said PA Works or Studio Mappa. As you can tell, I think very highly of this show's animation. Seriously, this is breathtaking. While it is a bit muted in the color palette most of the time, it's still very beautiful. From stunning character designs to backgrounds that are surreal, this show has it all. So because I mentioned this in my last review, A1 Pictures started this show when Sword Art Online Season 1 was in its second half. Funny how arguably the best 2 shows A1 Pictures has done has come out during SAO's second half. While in my last review, I talked about how the show seemed to suffer from producing 2 high-profile shows at once, From the New World is the exception. Never in this show do I feel the animation suffers due to budget. Seriously, the consistency of this show is amazing to say the least. A job well done spreading the animation budget to produce one of the most beautiful cinematic experiences I've ever had. This section really stood out for me in this show. The voice acting was really good, especially considering the tone of this show. The voices matched well. Now, one of the biggest standouts here for the music is just how atmospheric the soundtrack is. When I think of music that fits in this genre, I think of things like Higurashi as well as Nagi no Asakara. I have to put this on the short list of shows that become more from its soundtrack. For a lot of the show, we are wondering what's going on, and at many times it feels eerie. The music reflects this very well. Now, probably an even bigger standout in this show for its openings and endings is the fact that there really is no opening. At first, I didn't know really how to feel about this, as usually you need the opening to get you ready for the show. But honestly, the lack of an opening really makes this show stand out a lot more than if it had one. And the endings, well, amazing. Especially the first one, as it really hits home the feelings of the episodes as it plays out. It's very rare for an anime these days to make a meaningful statement on life. This show touches on a lot of themes and really knows how to hit all the right points to really make you think about the world you live in. As a viewer, you cannot help but stand up and applaud anime that can do this so well and still tell an interesting story. And with all that being said, after grading the show on story, characters, animation, sound, and my overall enjoyment, I give From the New World a recommendation of Jer Talk's Best of the Best. This is one of the best shows you can see, and you really should go out and buy it, as this is what we really want from anime. Something thought-provoking as well as entertaining for the viewer. The show is licensed by Sentai Filmworks, and they have released it on DVD and Blu-ray. Also, know that there is a dub, and I have not personally listened to it, but usually Sentai dubs are rather bad quality, so I would try it, but understand that the Japanese dub is most likely better. Also, if you wish to view it online legally, you can view it on Crunchyroll and Hulu for those in America. For alternate anime recommendations, I point you to 2 more atmospheric horror anime. The first being Higurashi no Neko Koran-ni. If you've not seen the show yet and you're a fan of horror and anime, you really should go see this along with From the New World. Next, I would point you towards Another, done by PA Works, so you know the animation's good. While the show's story is not near as good as Higurashi or From the New World, it is still a good show to watch if you like more character-centered shows. And that's all from me. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with what I am watching and what I'm reviewing. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.